Look, I've seen a lot of people talk about the downfall of Brazilian football, including myself, right? We made an entire video here at Chappelle Football talking about it, the reasons, and doing a deep dive. Rightfully so, because Brazil hasn't been good for quite some time. And again, I don't have to talk about that right now. There's a whole video about it. But what I'm not seeing is people talking about how mediocre Argentina is about to become in the post-Messi era. And it's not just because Messi's career is coming to an end. There's much more to it. And I fully understand most of you are going to call me a hater, saying, how can you talk about the downfall or Argentina being mediocre when they just finished in second place in the 2026 World Cup? They won the 2022 World Cup. They won the last two Copa Americas. And understand, it's much easier to call them crap when they're crap in 2030 and 2034 than it is to do it now. But I'm doing it right now because I got balls. I got big balls. And I'm telling you right now, Argentina is about to become very mediocre. Hello. If you're new here, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Chappelle Football. And today, I want to talk about Argentina. And listen, before you call me a hater, which if you want to call me a hater, it's fine, you're going to want to hear me out throughout the video and draw your own conclusion. We're going to talk about the Maradona era versus the Messi era, the issues with Argentine clubs, their projected roster for the 2030 World Cup, and much more. And when you have all that information, all that data, you can tell me if I'm a hater or if I'm probably going to be right. I'm just saying their future is not really looking good. Now, make sure to drop a like in this video if you enjoyed the content. Subscribe. We're getting very close to 30,000 subscribers, which would be awesome. But again, dropping a like is a great way to support the channel for free. And in the comments section down below, let me know. Do you think Argentina's in trouble once Messi retires, or they'll be all right? Okay, let's roll the intro and start the episode. Oh, wait. I forgot to say one thing. And this video is brought to you by Manta Sleep, but more on that later. Okay, so obviously the main reason why Argentina will start to struggle in the future is because Messi's career is slowly coming to an end. But it's not just that. His sidekicks are also aging. Some of them are finished. Some of them are done, like Di Maria. And you saw that in the 2026 World Cup when they played without Di Maria in the final. But before we talk about the current generation and the projected 2030 roster and how mediocre it looks, let me talk a little bit about the Maradona era versus the Messi era. Because I see a lot of people comparing that of how Argentina was very dependent on Diego Maradona, and now they're very dependent on Messi, and they struggled after. But there are a lot of differences between the Maradona era and the Messi era. I think it's a lot worse now. So Maradona's professional career started in 1976 and ended in 1997. However, he was not with Argentina when they won the World Cup in 1978. He also wasn't with Argentina when they won the 1991 and 1993 Copa Americas. They won both of those without Maradona while he was an active player. He didn't play the 1991 and 1993 Copa America because he was suspended due to drug use. So during the time where Maradona was an active professional player, Argentina did win two Copa Americas and one World Cup without him. Now, mind you, he was crucial for them to win the 1986 World Cup. He was the main player. Many even say he carried that team. And he also got Argentina to the 1990 World Cup final where they lost in the final. But understand, they won 3 big trophies without him. Even though 1978 was very iffy, shall I say, that World Cup. We made a whole video about it as well, about Argentina's previous World Cup trophies and all the controversies. But anyhow, Argentina won a World Cup and 2 Copa Americas without Maradona. Now, Messi, on the other hand, was never left out of a World Cup roster for Argentina, even when he was a prospect, and ever since he became the focal point around 2008, he made it to 3 World Cup finals. He won one of those World Cups. He won an Olympic gold medal and 2 Copa Americas with Argentina, and he's still active, of course. And I do think the post-Messi era will be similar to the post-Maradona era because Argentina didn't really win a single trophy from like 1993 all the way to 2021. And I think that's the post-Diego Maradona era, right? Even though he played till 1997, he wasn't really playing that much for the national team because he kept getting suspended due to drug use. And I think the post-Messi era will be very similar to the post-Maradona era where Argentina wins nothing. Now, the era itself, it's much worse because Argentina is much more dependent of Messi than they were of Maradona. Can you imagine the current Argentine squad winning any trophy without Messi? Could you imagine that? Because they did without Maradona 3 times. And look at these stats. Just look at it yourself of how dependent the current Argentina is of Lionel Messi. In the 2026 World Cup, Messi led Argentina in goals, assists, chances created, big chances created, and successful dribbles per 90. In the 2022 World Cup, Messi led Argentina in goals, assists, chances created, big chances created, and he was only behind Di Maria in successful dribbles per 90. Di Maria, another player that is gone already, okay? By the way, just to make that clear. And then in 2021, the 2021 Copa America, Messi led Argentina in goals, assists, chances created, big chances created, and he was also only behind Di Maria in successful dribbling attempts per 90 or dribbles per 90. And then in the 2024 Copa America, he struggled from a statistical standpoint, but he was crucial for Argentina to win it in the United States. So as you can see, this is a team that's heavily reliant on Messi, like a lot. And the other guy that was shining was Di Maria. He's also done. What's my point here when we compare Maradona and Messi era, right? Those two eras. Argentina right now is more dependent on Messi than they were on Maradona. And after the Maradona era, they struggled a lot. Now, before we continue, because I want to talk about Di Maria, the federation, the clubs, and the projected 2030 roster, a quick word from the sponsor of this video, Manta Sleep. Drop a like right now. Do not go anywhere. We'll be back very soon. And this video is sponsored by Manta Sleep. And listen, even though there are many football clubs and football national teams like Brazil these days that can put me to sleep, it doesn't mean I cannot improve my quality of sleep. And that doesn't just come with better pillows or mattresses. Because listen, if your room is not blackout dark, the Manta Sleep Silk Mask is perfect for you. But you know when I actually use this the most? When I'm traveling. If you're in a plane, this works wonders. And you know, I never really use sleep masks because most of them are uncomfortable. Most of them actually kind of suck. But this one actually doesn't. It's very comfortable. It doesn't really touch my eyelids and it's blackout dark. This is by far the best sleep mask I've ever had. I also got myself a Manta Sleep white noise machine. And this pretty much creates like a sound shield for my room, and it's easy to use, and I even have my own remote control. And Manta Sleep does ship in the United States of America and outside of the United States of America. Now pay attention because this is important. If you use our code TACTICAL, you will get 10% off your purchase with the link in the description of this video. And in the process, you'll also be helping the channel. So use the link in the description or go to mantasleep.com and use the code TACTICAL to get 10% off. Thank you very much, Manta Sleep. All right, we're back, and hopefully you dropped a like in this video already. So let's talk about Di Maria also, because he was already not available for Argentina in the 2026 World Cup. And you could tell because of the way they played in the final. He's one of the most clutch players in World Cup history, and Argentina does not have him anymore. Not just World Cup history. He's one of the most clutch players in general. Di Maria played 5 finals for Argentina. He won all 5 finals. And in those 5 games, or those 5 finals, he scored in 4 of them. And the one that he didn't score, he was the man of the match. So he's very likely one of the most clutch players in international football history, and Argentina no longer has him. And guess what happened in the final against Spain? They lost. There were actually 4 finals throughout this era with Di Maria and Messi that Argentina played that Di Maria was not available. And Argentina lost every single final that Di Maria was not available. Now, would they have beat Spain if Di Maria was available for the game in 2026? Probably not. Would it have increased their chances? Yes, absolutely. My point here is 2 guys that have carried Argentina throughout the past decade, actually over a decade, have been Di Maria and Messi. Di Maria is gone. Messi's very close to gone. Their sidekicks are aging and mostly done with, like Otamendi, De Pauls, those guys, right? They're either done or very close to done. And if you ignore the conspiracy theories for a second here, the decline of Argentina was already noticeable in the 2026 World Cup. Look at their performances against Cabo Verde, Egypt, Switzerland, England choked, and even the final against Spain. Ignore the conspiracies, okay? Let's just assume the World Cup was fair and square, which I believe it was. Argentina was abysmal for the most part. This was an old, aging team that wasn't great, heavily reliant on a 38 or 39-year-old Lionel Messi that honestly went much further than they should have. And then in the final, they finally faced a top team, right? Which to me, the 2 top teams were Spain and France. And when Argentina faced Spain, they were completely dominated. It was actually quite an embarrassing performance in the final. And along with everything I just said, there's also some political instability coming to the Argentine Federation with Tapia, right? He's the one in charge of the Argentine Federation, Argentine football right now. Apparently, he's being investigated by the FBI. There's a lot of iffy stuff going on there with the federation, the clubs, Argentina in general. And if you are Brazilian, you know this, that the political instability with the Brazilian Federation, CBF, over the years eventually came back to bite Brazil. And if Argentina continues to go this path with their federation, there will be some very strong political instability, and it will come back to bite Argentina at some point. Maybe sooner rather than later. And I'm not going to dive into that, okay? You guys can look up Tapia, that's their president of their federation, and what's going on there. I'm just going to say it, shit's about to hit the fan. Now, before we talk about the 2030 projected roster, keep in mind that Argentinian club soccer or club football is going through an all-time low. From a financial perspective, honestly, development perspective, in terms of developing good talent, they have good players coming up, but not the world-class players like Messi's, Di Maria's, Mascherano's, Agüero's, like guys like that, Riquelme's, not like that. And on top of that, the results show. Their results in South America, which they were once dominant, even over the Brazilian clubs, that's not happening anymore. The Brazilian clubs are the ones dominating. Brazilian clubs have won the past 7 Copa Libertadores. It's recent, but the lack of money in Argentine football is actually nuts. The quality is gone, and in the 2030s, you will see that show up with the national team, believe me. The winner of the Argentine League gets roughly $500,000 in prize money. The winner of the second division in Brazil wins roughly $650,000. So if you win the second division of Brazil, you make more money than the winner of the Argentine League. Apparently, River Plate still has money. They're going to be expanding the Monumental de Nunes, the stadium. They're going to be they're signing some expensive players like Thiago Almada. And I also understand that money ain't everything. But eventually, that does hurt development. That hurts infrastructure. That hurts local football. And that is hurting Argentina, and it will continue to hurt them. The results with the clubs eventually will show up with the national team. So I think this is the perfect time to transition into looking towards their 2030 projected roster. So you can see the actual players that are expected to be there and why I believe this is a very mediocre team. Like, could they do okay? Sure. So let's dive into that. Let's look into the Argentine 2030 World Cup projected roster. In the meantime, make sure to drop a like in this video if you haven't already. Okay, so let's just quickly dive into their projected 2030 roster. And I want to make one thing clear. This is not the one that I made. So you're going to say, well, you're biased, right? You're going to pick the worst possible players and make the worst possible roster to push a narrative. No. I am very fair. Some might say I'm the most fair guy on YouTube. Like, you won't find someone that's more fair than myself. So what I did was I got the projected 2030 roster from the account called Suda Analytics. This account is based on Argentina, right? This is a guy or a girl, whoever's in charge of this account, from Argentina. I know they cover South American football as a whole, but it's from Argentina. And this is the Argentine projected 2030 roster that they made. Right, obviously without Lionel Messi, assuming Messi doesn't play in that World Cup. And even if Messi does play, it's going to be a 42-year-old Messi. Could he still be effective? Maybe. But look at these players. I'm just going to give you the names and you judge it yourself, right? Goalkeeper, he put Beltran on goal, the 25-year-old. He'll be 25 in that World Cup, Beltran, with Emi Martinez as the backup. That's fine. Goalkeeper-wise, whether it's Beltran, Emi Martinez, Argentina is fine. The fullbacks, the main ones that they put were Del Blanco, that I believe he plays for Strasbourg, and GI, that plays for Palmeiras, with Simeone being the backup. Simeone's a guy that just runs and kicks the shit out of people. I watch a lot of Palmeiras, right? I'm wearing a Palmeiras jacket right now. GI is not bad. He's okay, right? I think Del Blanco and GI, they're more or less the same level as, like, the Molinas, the Tagliaficos, the Acuñas that Argentina had. So when it comes to fullbacks, Argentina's fine. The center backs, Lisandro Martinez will be 32 years old. Romero will be 32. That's fine. Then they have Medina, Gomez, Palacios, Trollo, Anselmino, and Ovando as other options. So when it comes to goalkeeper, center backs, and fullbacks, I think Argentina's fine. Right? This is not anything world-class. Besides the center backs are really good. Romero and Lisandro Martinez are very good center backs. The fullbacks are fine. They're not a problem. The goalkeeper will be fine as well. The problem now becomes the midfield and the forwards, right? Like, first and foremost, McAllister starting in 2030. I don't rate him very much. McAllister's still there. The backups are Perone and Eki Fernandez, all right, at age 27 and 27. And then you have Enzo Fernandez, that is just, he's a good player, just very stupid, right? That's the only problem with him. You saw that in the World Cup final. Palacios at age 31, and Andrada will be 23. Listen, again, God bless Argentina right there, because they're okay, but that's not a tremendous midfield that you would expect to win the World Cup. Can they go far with that? Sure, but I don't see anything special there. Now look at the flanks here, the wingers or the wide midfielders. Starting in the projected starting 11 that he put here, or the projected 2030 roster, you have Valentin Barco and Nico Paz. These are not bad players, but again, like, what a downfall, right? When you have players like, for example, Di Maria. Honestly, I think Lo Celso, when they had him back in the 2022 cycle, I know he was injured for the World Cup and all that. To me, that's a better player as well, right? And you don't have Di Maria anymore. You don't have any world-class players out wide. You have Nico Paz, Barco. Then after that, you have Thiago Almada, which just came back to River Plate, Aranda, Prestiani. And then they're going to say, what about Mastantuono from Real Madrid? I think he just got a loan to Fiorentina. He's fine. He'll be okay. To me, that's not a world-class prospect. Sole, and then they're gonna hype up Echeverri because Man City signed him like 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, something like that. He'll be 24 by then. I just don't see it, guys, right? For a national team that used to have, I'm not even going to go very far. I'm going to go in the post-Maradona era, right? The post-Maradona era where they struggled to get trophies. This is a team that had Juan Riquelme, right? Riquelme was there. Pablo Aimar, Carlitos Tevez. That was another great player right there. And then obviously after came Messi, Di Maria, Kun Agüero, honestly, even Higuain. Higuain was fantastic as well. Not maybe not for Argentina, but a fantastic player. And then right now, you look at Barco and Paz starting. You're not winning a World Cup with Valentin Barco and Nico Paz starting. Honestly, not even just winning a World Cup. Is this a team to get past the quarterfinals? I don't know. Man. Then up top, you have a 32-year-old Lautaro Martinez that should be declining by then. The other options are Panicelli and Freitas. Then you have Julian Alvarez at age 30, Flaco Lopez, and Santi Castro. Now, as a Palmeiras fan, maybe I'm biased here. I think by then Flaco Lopez could be starting for Argentina as a center forward. I could see him being at the level or a little bit better than a declining Lautaro Martinez by then. I could see that totally happening. Flaco Lopez, to me, is a very good player. But again, look at this starting 11. Beltran, Martinez, Romero, Gi, Del Blanco, McAllister, and Enzo Fernandez in the midfield. Nico Paz on the right. Valentin Barco on the left. Julian Alvarez and Lautaro up top, or maybe Flaco Lopez. Is this a team that you look at and you say, these are World Cup contenders? This, to me, looks like a quarterfinalist in the World Cup, right? If they perform to their level. If they overperform, semifinals. And if they underperform, they lose earlier, right? This is honestly, I've been following Argentina closely since 2002 when they had a bad World Cup. They got grouped in that World Cup, and I've been following them very closely alongside Brazil, the United States, and Mexico. This is one of the worst Argentine teams I've seen. And they've had some teams that struggled in the past. But in terms of pure talent, this is one of the weakest ones I've seen. Okay, so these are just my thoughts. You got the players right there. You draw your own conclusions. But you tell me in the comment section, does that look like a team that can win a World Cup? That's a team that's going to also struggle to win the Copa America. I think when it comes to talent, it's not too crazy to say Brazil has more talent than the players I just listed. But anyhow, that was the projected 2030 roster. Everyone, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like before you go. And thank you, Manta Sleep, for sponsoring this video. The link will be in the description. Don't forget to check it out. And that's all for today. Let me know your thoughts on Argentina. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, if you want to call me a hater right now, it's fine because you made it this far in the video. So you've earned the right to do so. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much for watching and have a great day.